Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to BunniPhish's channel.
Welcome to BunniPhish Crafts. I'm your host Heather, known as BunniPhish on Ravelry, Instagram, YouTube, and Patreon. Today is Saturday, the 9th of November. How is it already almost mid-November? 2019. I don't know what episode this is. I am severely out of practice, and I haven't seen you guys for several weeks, kind of. How have you been?
But I have been great.
So, yeah, it's been, I think, 3 weeks since my last, almost a month since my last regular podcast. I did do Vlogtober. I do have the last day of Vlogtober still to edit, which I will edit before I put this up. So you'll see that before you see this. But yeah, it's been a really good couple of weeks, month, whatever. What are you doing, weirdo? We've been having a lot of fun. This one tried out for basketball at school. Didn't make the team, but that's okay. We started Handcraft Club, which is fun. A lot of people turned out for that. And what else? What else have we done? We didn't go out trick-or-treating. We stayed in and watched movies.
Because it was way too cold.
Yeah, it was awful. And I think that's all like the relevant stuff. Life stuff, I think.
But we had a great time.
We did have a great time.
What was the candy I had?
You had Ferrero Rocher. Because I bought everybody a bag of candy. So I have a new old camera. I found one of my old webcams that I had hooked up to my computer before, so we'll test it out. We'll see if this is better. Already the picture quality looks much better than my laptop's camera. I'm trying something a little bit different today, which is have my show notes on my computer screen. I pretty much never look at the camera anyway. I mean, I do. I try to remember to look at the camera, but I have a tendency to look everywhere when I'm talking. It's not, it's in person, it's all the time. I look everywhere because I'm just a really observant person, generally speaking, so I look at everything all the time. Which if you've been a long time viewer, you have noticed that about me, I'm sure. So you probably won't even think it's strange that I'm looking to the side to look at my show notes, but I tried to write out them because I have a lot of stuff to talk about. You can't quite see everything on the shelf. I'll turn you a little. So those are all of my, I think these are all of my works in progress, plus the one in my lap. And then I have these books to talk about, these 4 books. I'm reading 4 books right now. This is not atypical. And this stack right here is finished objects, which is not all of my finished objects in the past 3 weeks. I'm going to review again. But it is everything that I have here to show you. I know I have at least 2 that are not here right now. Let me know what you think of the lighting in this video. I don't have any artificial light on right now. It's all just what's coming in from my window. If this is too dark, especially because it's, you know, autumn and getting darker and just generally darker, I will throw on some artificial light next time. But hopefully this will be fine. So there's a lot of administrative stuff to get into. First, I don't generally drink anything on the podcast while I'm recording, but it is autumn. It is quite dry, and I will be sipping tea throughout. I will try to edit that out, but if I miss editing that out, I apologize. I am drinking really delicious tea. It's Great Lakes Tea and Spice, which is localish to me. And the flavor is called Northern Berries. It is amazing. I made it hot this morning, but now I'm just drinking it cold because it's good either way. And every time I pour some tea into my cup, I pour more water into the pot because it's not a true tea, it's an herbal tea, just flavors the water deliciously for a gallon, like at least a gallon of water for 4 tablespoons. Not tablespoons, 4 teaspoons. That would be a lot, 4 tablespoons, oh my goodness. I did mention it's November, so the finisher frog has started, and that is for anything that you finish or frog between November 1st and December 31st, you can enter. Things that were started before November count for 2 entries. Things started after November count for 1 entry. Frogged things count for 1 entry. The chatter and the finished? The chatter and the entries are all going to be in the same thread instead of splitting it up. If you are posting an entry, please post at the very bottom of your post. Please put at the very bottom of your post, oh my goodness, words, that you have entries in that post so that it's just really easy to find. It's really easy so I won't miss it when I'm scrolling through at 3 a.m. as I do a couple times a month. The currently accepted crafts for entry are knit, crochet, spinning, weaving, cross stitch, sewing, and quilting. I am willing to accept other types of making if 2 people in the group request that something be counted. I will be drawing at least 1 prize for the knit along and for entries, and at least 1 chatter entry. So get things in, the more participation, the more prizes that I will have. I have several skeins of yarn in the prize bucket. I have a project bag in there. So yeah, we have some good stuff to potentially give away for that knit along. There's no size requirement for a finished object. So if you're making ornaments, this is a good time. While we're talking about ornaments, the ornament swap partners were matched up, and ornaments should be beginning to be sent out starting next week. So the shipping time for that is between the 15th and the 30th of November if you're taking part in that. Can you hear that my heat just kicked on? It's kind of loud. So yes, those should be sent out starting next week. I have 4 partners who I'm swapping with, which is super exciting. And I have 2 of the ornaments finished, and I have a 3rd ornament. I have the idea, but I haven't started working on it yet. And then the 4th ornament, I'm not quite sure. It hasn't crystallized in my brain what I'm going to make, but ornaments are very fast to make, which I will talk about in a little bit too. But yeah, they're very fast to make, so I'm not too worried about getting them finished in the next couple weeks. But I hope if you're taking part in that, it is a 1-to-1 swap, so if you have questions for your partner, go ahead and message them, email them. If you don't have emailable information, if you don't know how to get a hold of your partner, feel free to contact me and I will get you together. So yeah, I want it to be really fun. So I know there are a few people who are doing extras in their ornament swaps, which is exciting. You don't have to. So I'm really, really excited for this. I love this. I'm also taking part in, this is not administrative, but I'm just going to throw it in here and get back to administrative, apparently. I am also taking part in a tea swap, and I just sent out my tea packages a few days ago, and I should be getting, I have 2 of the 5 tea packages that I'm going to get. I'm super, super excited. They're both really, really lovely so far, and I will be opening those during Vlogmas because I am planning to do Vlogmas, which will be so much fun. So much fun. I love vlogging in a parameter, like Vlogtober, Vlogmas. I like vlogging for May. I could not be an everyday vlogger. I just couldn't. Not me. But I'm excited for Vlogmas. I have some ideas. It should be a lot of fun. And thank you for everybody who commented on Vlogtober videos. I had a lot of fun doing a new-ish type segment of talking about my journaling. That was really fun, really great. And thank you for interacting with my kids. Whenever anybody responded to something my kids said, it made them super happy, which made me super happy because I love my kids. The last administrative thing, I think, well, the last thing I have written down is the Patreon winner for, what is that, August, September, October? Yes, August, September, October is Catherine Strait. So, Kat, get a hold of me. What I have currently available is this 80% superwash merino, 20% silk, 875 yards, 100 grams of Jack's Barbecue, so a lace. Did I say it's from Spartacus Dyes, who's no longer dying? So there's that. I have a Sock Monkey, you can't see the cool side, Sock Monkey project bag made by Rainstorm Studios, which I'm pretty sure is not a shop that you can buy from anymore. And I have this little shawlette that I didn't even weave in the ends on, but you could totally have, or a frog. I don't remember the yarn, probably spun right round, and the pattern was designed by Jack Beck. I don't remember what it was called. I'm sorry about that, but if you would like one of those 3 things, get in contact with me. If none of those things are really speaking to you, get in contact with me and we'll figure something else out. Super okay with figuring something else out if those three things don't jive with you. Okay, are you ready for finished objects? I have a lot of them. So let me move tags to my lap or the floor. That's not helpful. So first, I have 2 finished objects that I don't have with me. I have the Nightingale socks by Vintage Pearl, and I used Premier Serenity sock in black for the main color, and then the background colors were mini skeins from the ZK 2014, 2015. A long time ago. I did not attend that ZK, but I had some very generous friends who sent me their mini skein sets so that I could make something with them. And I'm so pleased with how those turned out. They're absolutely beautiful. I don't have them with me because I didn't block them after I made them. And then I immediately wore them a couple times. So they are currently drying because I had to wash them. But I'm sure that there's been a picture on the screen. I'll put it up once again just so that you can for sure see them. I love these socks so much, and I am going to get so much wear out of them this winter. Like I said, I've already worn them like 3 times, 4 times in the past 3 weeks, less than 3 weeks. I don't know, I've worn them a lot, and I will continue to wear them. The other thing that I finished is the owl blanket that I had started for one of the secretaries at my children's school, and I finished it in time to give it to her. I will put up a picture right now of how it turned out. I am planning to release that as a design, but I did not I didn't get really good pictures because it was last minute, and she has it now, and I want to do kind of tutorial pictures video video, maybe pictures, I don't know. I want to do a tutorial of how that was made. So I'm gonna have to figure out if I'm going to make an entirely new blanket or if I'm just going to do a square. I don't know. So that will be coming eventually. The yarns that I used for that are James C. Brett Marble Chunky and Marble Chunky Sparkle, something like that. I don't remember, but it looks like that. And they're just numbers for the color. It turned out really, really beautiful. It is crocheted. I used a size M hook. Loved how it turned out. It wasn't very, very big. It was about 3.5 feet by 3.5 feet. Just big enough to be like a lap sort of deal. I didn't want to make a full blanket because time and lazy, and I just think it would be a really cute baby blanket. So I thought making a grown-up lap blanket would be fine. And she liked it a lot. It was a lot of fun to make. Worked up very quick because it was chunky yarn. I also, this should have been an administrative, but I forgot that they were in the pile. I also finished, well, I published a design, which is these. These are the Sidewinder mitts. Do I have one blocked and one unblocked? Let's see. Yes, I have one that was blocked, so you can see it curves a little, but when they're unblocked, it curves a lot. These are the Sidewinder mitts, and they use a little bit of short row shaping. I am so pleased with how these turned out. The yarn is this blue beautifulness, blue and green, is cattails yarn, the Egyptian Mao base, which is I'm gonna say superwash. If this is not right, I'll put it down at the bottom. Superwash yarn, superwash wool, it might be merino, with nylon and silver stellina. Can you see that there are sparkles? Oh yeah, there was a little bling in your face. Love it. So that is that. The gray is just Premier Serenity in charcoal, and this pair of mitts right here is only 32 or 34 grams of yarn. So you could use two 20-gram minis and make these mitts, or leftovers from other projects. And I love these so, so much. I've had them sitting aside. I need to block this one so it's not super short. So I have had these sitting aside waiting to show you so that I could start wearing them, and now I'm going to wear them all the time. All the time. I love them so much. Thank you for my awesome test knitters for test knitting these, and yeah, go get them if you're interested. It's intarsia in the round, which is a really simple technique. It makes a really, really cool mitt, if I do say so myself, and I just could not be happier with them. Really, really love them. That looks so funny not blocked. It's fine. It's fine. I'm going to block it shortly after this. Also, they are only written for one size. They are super easy to modify by adding or subtracting stitches from this garter stitch section. Can you see that there's ribbing and garter stitch? So two different textures. It's a lot of fun. The pattern repeat makes it, for me at least, and I think for my test knitters, very, very potato chippy. I love these mitts so much. I'm so excited that now I can wear them all the time. I'm kind of obsessed. I mean, probably more than kind of. Who am I kidding? Okay, other finished things. Let's go on with designing stuff that is finished. So these are currently out to a couple test knitters. I could use a couple more test knitters though, so if you missed that post on Instagram, I will leave the link down below for the test knitting questionnaire. These are unicorn tube socks. I made these using Knit Picks Hawthorn fingering in some sort of berry colorway. And the toe and cuff yarns are dyed in Detroit. This one says something about jeans. I don't remember what this pink one is. I'm sorry, I'm the worst. I will try to have them across the bottom of the screen so that you can know what they are called. And yeah, I am super, super pleased with these. So I'm going to hold up one. That'll be easier. So yes, these are just little tube socks for some nieces, but I have this sock designed for 52, 56, 64, and 72 stitch count. I'm super pleased with how they turn out, and in the pattern there will be instructions for how to do an afterthought heel to go in these. I'm just leaving these as tube socks, but I think it would be nice to have the option for an afterthought heel in them in case people didn't want just tubes. Look how cute. I cannot even, I'm super pleased with myself. Good job, me. Pat on the back. These are so cute. So, so cute. Knit on US size 0, 2.0 millimeter needles. Love it. I love them. I decided to make those because I want to make things for Patrick's nieces, so my nieces, but I didn't want to make more toys. I made toys last year. I don't love making toys. So I figured unicorn socks would be really cute and useful, and hopefully they like them. And I say they because in Works in Progress, I will show you some more unicorn socks. I have also finished the Pomodamus socks by Cookie A. This was made out of Dream in Color BFL sock, no colorway name. One sock is blocked, one sock is not, which is why they are different sizes, but they will be the same size once the second sock is blocked. I love that texture, and I love the color in this yarn, and I love that they're a little bit different in the color. I just love that about indie dyed yarn, that it's just a little bit different. These were also knit on US size 0 needles. Love them. Those will be for my sister. I feel like I talked about these a lot on previous podcasts and also on Vlogtober. Oh, I guess I will show you. I have stitch markers in all of these things showing where I was last time, but I don't think it matters so much. So again, I have one sock. I have mini socks using the same yarns as the unicorns, and I have one sock blocked and one sock not blocked. So not blocked, blocked. And so that's why they look different and strange and not the same size, even though they are. So yeah, I probably won't block these because they're just for me. I will block the other Pomodamus because it's for my sister. But yeah, these are the mini skein socks that I talked about pretty much at length previously. I knit these kind of Rose City roller style. I did have to make a modification to the gusset decreases to make sure that they were long enough. Instead of doing every other round doing a decrease, I did every third round a decrease, and it worked well. It fits my foot pretty well, and they turned out really, really nice. And my decrease stitches definitely benefit from being blocked. They look nicer blocked. It's fine. I don't care. They're going on my feet. So I finished those socks. I also finished this hat, which is the Neon Ski Bonnet. I did not write down who that was by. but it will be linked below. And I have hat hair already. So this is the neon ski bonnet. It is written to have a pom-pom and ties. I don't really like pom-poms or ties. I just wanted something that was, it's double layer right over my ears, and it is cute and will be warm when it is very, very cold here in Michigan, as it gets. I don't think it's like the cutest hat on me ever, like the most attractive, but I do think it will be very warm. And I made this out of Knit Picks Full Circle in the colorway denim. I used US size 7 needles. I don't remember what was called for in the pattern. I just used whatever I had closest to me. This hat is really, really cool. So I don't know how much I told you last time I recorded because that was a long time ago. But you knit this band right here first, and you knit it in the round. This is a free pattern. So you knit it in the round. So that's why it's double thick. So it's got the cabled side, and then it's got the plain stockinette side. Oh, look at that stitch definition. Look at those details. Oh my gosh, I love this so much. So you do this band, and then you pick up and you knit back and forth for the smocking section for a little while. I'll show you the back so you can see better. So you see you do back and forth for the smocking section, and then you join it in the round. And I don't remember if you immediately start decreasing. I think you do. I think as soon as you join it in the round, you start decreasing, and then you pull the fuzzy off of your hat, and then decreases, and then you pick up along the selvage edge of the flat knitting, and you knit a garter stitch band to finish it off. And then, as I said, there's supposed to be a pom-pom, there's supposed to be ties. Those aren't really things that I'm interested in. I'm just interested in a warm, cozy hat. And I really, really like this pattern. I think the details are just beautiful. I also made mine a little bit long because sometimes I wear my hair up. It doesn't really matter this year because my hair is still pretty short, but I'm not intending on like keeping up this length, keeping it cut this short. So I will be, I'll have more hair next year, and when that is up in ponytails and stuff, I still want to be able to wear this hat. So I'm pretty pleased with the neon ski bonnet. I think it's super cute. I'm gonna get a lot of wear out of it. Okay, is this my last finished object? Yes, this is. So this is huge. This has a story. So I'm gonna set that down and pick up my knitting so I can tell you this story. So the day before the kids had trunk or treat at the school, the trunk or treat was on a Thursday. My sister and I were hanging out because it was a Wednesday, and it was a day that we hung out the entire morning. So I got in the car, and she was planning on decorating her trunk. I was going to help decorate, well, not was going to, I did help decorate the school, but that was the plan. So we were, I have another finished object. Where did that go? In my lap. Never mind, I have 2 to go. So this one, we were discussing what we wanted to do to decorate the trunk, what she wanted to be for Halloween for trunk or treating, and she has a pirate costume, and she didn't really want to do that. And I was like, well, I'm going to be a black cat because I just have to make some fingerless mitts and a hood, and I'm good. Like a hooded cowl. So she was like, oh, we could both be cats. And when it was just me, bulky fingerless mitts, bulky cowl in 28, 32, I think it was 32 when I first thought of it, 32 hours Sure, not a problem. And then she wanted to be a cat. So now I had to make 2 sets of fingerless mitts and 2 hooded cowls in 32 hours. And by the time we got to the yarn store, it was 28 hours to make those. So I got to work. The mitts were quick. We finished, well, I finished the mitts. No, because she had to sew. She made the paw pads. I don't know where my fingerless mitts are. The children took them. They took them over. They're gone. So I made the fingerless mitts. I crocheted them. She made the paw pads and sewed those on. Both sets were finished before we left knitting. So 26 hours to go. And I had started the first cowl before we left knitting. So I worked furiously on that cowl for the rest of the day. And then I think I woke up in the middle of the night. So I worked on it then, and then I fell back asleep, and I woke up and I worked on it, and I finished it more or less. So that was this cowl. The more or less part was that I don't think, so I didn't have the ears on, but we also finished the ears at knit group. So all of the little pieces were done. It was just doing the cowls. So I had this whole length. This is like the size of a sweater. So this is the exact length of my sweater. It's obviously not the width, but it's like a child sweater. These are not insubstantial to make. So I had this made, but I didn't have, there's a border, and I know this is black, so you can't see any of it, but there's a border around the shoulder area that I didn't do. I finished the ball of yarn I was working on, set this one aside, started the other cowl. So when we got to trunk or treating, the other cowl was completely finished, had all of the pieces, everything done, both of the border sections finished. Mine was not finished. Didn't matter. Brought it home, finished it a couple days later. So I will put in a couple pictures right here of us in the trunks. We were cool cats in a yarn trunk. that was our theme. We did not win. We also did not put any effort because the yarn was already in my sister's car. She already carries a whole bunch of yarn in her car so that when she's waiting somewhere, she can just pull out yarn and crochet. But the design that I used is Woodlynn Wolf Cowl by Heidi May. I used a size M hook for this yarn. My version of this was made out of Pacific Bulky Cascade yarns. It's 60% acrylic, 40% superwash merino wool. It's cozy and warm, and I had 4 balls of this to make the 4 or 5 balls to make the cowl and the mitts. 4 or 5, I don't remember. You can go back to the episode. I will put it down at the bottom where I was frantically working on it, and you can count the number of balls that are on the table. I think it was 4. So yeah, it's not insubstantial. So if it was 4 balls, it would be 130 times 4 is 520 yards. That was worked up. And then my sister's was fancy. Hers was made out of Misty alpaca, which is 100% baby alpaca, because she is fancy, and she will use her cowl much more than I will. I have my peripheral vision. You can't see. Okay, so I'll show you. Let's see. Oh yeah, I can see my thumb right here. So my peripheral vision is pretty far back on my head. So if I have a hood, yeah, I can see. So like this, I can see my my pinky moving. So to have a hood, this hood, also the blue hood, but this hood, it's super cute. It's so cute, but I think you can see that it comes down pretty far on my head. And I can't use all of my peripheral vision, so I can't wear this while I'm driving. I can wear it if I'm walking, but not driving because it would freak me out. So hers is fancier because she'll get more everyday wear out of it. Whereas I have to kind of plan when I'm going to wear it. Okay, last finished object, I'm pretty sure. Other than my ornaments, which I will show you after, well, I'll show you ornaments in December because I'm planning on making myself a copy of all of the ornaments that I'm sending out. Okay, I'm just not going to be happy with how that hat looks. It's fine. It's fine. It looks fine. So yeah, in December I'll show you those because all of my partners should have received theirs. I'm going to be able to reclaim so many stitch markers after this because here's another marker. This must have been where I was last time you saw it. These socks are the Fruit Loop sock, which is a free pattern on Knitty. I don't remember who it's by. It'll be linked below. And here they are. They are knee-high socks. They are not blocked, but they will be before I send them because they are a gift. And I want the recipient to be able to see the lovely Fruit Loop type pattern that is on them. I'm super pleased with how these turned out. I think they are very, very lovely. The recipient has similar leg and foot shape, according to my boyfriend. They're for his sister. So I hope he knows these things, but maybe not. So hopefully they fit her. She likes the ones that I made her last year. And the yarn that I used for this is Knit Picks Chroma Twist Fingering in the color Carnival. So these are finished. I made the toe. I talked about this already, but it's just so typical me. I made the toes longer than I typically would. I would typically change to the toe color right when I start the decreases, but I really wanted to be able to put a square of this in my blanket, in my personal mitered square blanket. So I did manage to have just enough to put a square in. I haven't actually put that square in my blanket though. I will, and I'll show it to you next week. I am not going to do a modular interlude like I have been doing because it's been so many weeks and I've deleted those pictures off of my camera. Not my camera, my phone. So I don't have them anymore. But next week I should, because I am planning to get back to weekly recording for November, and then we'll see what December does since I'll be doing Vlogmas. What is this? What are you doing? You don't know? I don't know either. Okay. Whatever. I look crazy. It's fine. I look fine, right? I look fine. So I did also use US size 2, which is 2.75 millimeter needles for the cuffs and somewhere in the upper leg. I don't remember. I did write it all in my project notes. Then I changed to a US 1 for this much of the leg, I believe, all the way down to the heel. Then I changed to US 1 is 2.25 millimeter needles. And then I changed to a US 0 for the foot, the heel, and the foot, which is a 2.0 millimeter needle. That's basically a really lazy but effective way to do decreasing in the sock without actually having to do a ton of decreases. I did do decreases in the sock along the back in the ribbing section. So up at the top it is 2x3 ribbing. The cuff is 2x2, but in the actual leg of the sock it's 2x3 3, or is it 3x3? No, it's 2x3 ribbing, and it makes its way by the time it gets down to the bottom to be 2x1 ribbing. So I did do decreases in the ribbing section, but I also did decreases using needle sizes. Because up at the top, you don't need it to be bulletproof like you do on the bottom of the sole. I know I've shown this on the podcast before, but this is why it's worth it to make knee-high socks for someone who's not me, because the recipient of those knee-high socks painted this for me last year. I love it so, so much. Look at how cute that penguin is. I love penguins. And it has my name on it, so everybody knows whose it is. So I can take it to work in the lunchroom, and no one can be like, oh, whose is this? Well, it's got my name on it. Did I ever show you guys the water bottles that she made for my kids? I don't remember. If I didn't, and you would like to see them, remind me, I'll try to bring them next week. So let's discuss my works in progress. I have several, per usual, unless it's the end of the month where it dwindles down because I'm trying to finish things rapidly. First up is a test knit that I am doing for my friend Shayna. She's the designer behind Shayna Lines Designs, and this is a Rapazoid. So she asked me if I would test knit this in the size 0, which is the smallest size, and with the intent that it be for my daughter. Oh my gosh, this hat and I are not cooperating. So this is how I wear this hat around my house when I just actually want a beanie instead of a slouch. It's not the cutest thing, but these buttons, so let's talk about this hat for a minute since that's what I'm doing. This hat is String Band by Stephen West. It has a tube that you knit, and then it's got these strings that he styles by tying around his head probably to keep the hat on, but you can turn it into a cowl or a hat. I don't know the yarn or any of the information about it because Josh, sort of a knitter, Geoknitrix Designs, knit this for himself and then never wore it, and I knit myself one because he knit this one and I loved it, so he gave this to me. But these buttons are metal. They're gorgeous. They complement the yarn so, so well, but they're heavy, so they pull the hat down, which I don't mind all the time, but right now it keeps drawing down. So I just fold the hat. I fold the outside out of the hat and put it on like a beanie sometimes. By sometimes, I mean all the time when I'm at home. Whatever, who cares? It's just me. I think it looks cute like this too. I think it's fine. So that's what I'm gonna do. This sweater is also knit by Josh, designed by Stephen West. I don't know what this one is called. I wear it all the time because it's really, really comfy. So maybe I should knit myself a pullover. Other than the $5 in Paris, which I also wear all the time. I probably won't though. I'll probably just wait until Josh knits me a new one. Anyway, back to Rapazoid. So this is all garter stitch. It is an asymmetrical hem sweatery vesty thingy with a large collar. It's really, really cute. I saw Shayna designing this at the ZK, or working on the design. I don't know if she had it all written out, whatever. She was working on this at the ZK before she called for test knitters. And I told her that I would be interested in test knitting it, even though I don't love garter stitch. But then I missed her call on Instagram because I'm not the best at Instagram. Sometimes I go through these phases. So sometimes I am on Instagram all the time, reading through things, commenting, and then sometimes I go weeks without looking at it. Just how it is. So then she contacted me when she was adding sizes to it to ask if I would be interested, and I said, yes, I would love to. So I'm making it for my daughter, and I think it will be super, super beautiful. So she designed Rapazoid to use up a bunch of scraps. And I'm kind of using a bunch of scraps and also not using scraps. I had in my stash, I did not realize I had 2 balls of this in my stash. I thought I only had 1. So I pulled out the first one and I used it for the body after I had taken out yarn for my scrappy projects, all of my blankets. So I used that skein for all of this beautifulness, and I held it with Premier Serenity sock in charcoal. I did that for most of the body until I ran out over here. And then I attached navy, Premier Serenity sock navy, and I worked that with the charcoal in this section right here. And then I ran out of all of my charcoal. So then I finished it off with navy. Okay, fine. So then I went back into my stash of yarn to figure out what colorful color I was going to use in the collar, because this is for my daughter. I could have just done a solid black collar, but I didn't want to because it's for her. And then I found that I had a second skein of this. So this is Manos del Uraguay in the colorway Manglar, which means mangrove. Mangrove. It's covered up by my camera. Mangrove swamp. Super beautiful. Love this color. Love it. Oh yeah, that's super representative. And I love it marled with these darker colors. So I think I didn't realize that the skeins were the same colorway because they look not drastically different, but as you can tell, there's a lot of color in here, and they're hand dyed, so they look pretty different. So if I had worked them in a project, I think you would have super been able to tell that they were 2 different skeins. But like this, I think it will be fine, especially because I don't have any more of this charcoal color from Premier Serenity sock. So I've started doing this section. You pick up so you knit sideways from one side to the other, and then you pick up and you knit up. And so I'm using the last of the navy, which is just, it's not really navy, it's dark gray, but it's called navy, Premier Serenity sock navy. I've had this discussion about this colorway so many times on this podcast. If you've been watching for a long time, you know how I feel about this color being called navy. But I'm using up the last of that, and then when I'm all out of that, I will be using Premier Serenity sock in black. So this is the progress. Today is the 9th. The test knit is due on the 15th. I should be finished. I'm not going to say well before, but I will definitely make the deadline, because after this, there is an edging all the way around and around the sleeves. So that edging will probably take me a few days. But this knitting the collar should be pretty quick. And this is where I was this morning. So I put in a few rows since then, and this stitch marker over here I am using to count my rows for me, so I don't actually have to count my rows. And I will put the link below to the tutorial for that, and if I remember when I'm publishing this, I will also put it on the screen so that it's super easy and you can click on that information. So yeah, it's really, oh, it's so pretty. I would wear this. I would wear this color combination. I would not wear this as a sweater. No, but the marling with the gray, oh my gosh, I love it so much. And I know it wouldn't fit me, but man, I'm really tempted to block the snot out of it to make it fit me, even though it won't. I could always make myself a new one. And this is, or was, hanging out in my Girl Cave bag, whale bag that Haley gave to me, that I love so much. It's so cute, but now the project is too big to fit in this whale bag. But I'm still holding the yarn in it, and the project can just sit outside. And I'm knitting these on US size 7 needles. I don't remember what the pattern calls for. I did a gauge swatch. That's what I got gauge on. So yeah, this will be finished next week. And we'll see if Mara will actually wear it. I have to remember not to call it a sweater because it doesn't have sleeves, and she will yell at me if it doesn't have sleeves. Next up in my Stitch by Jessalou bag, Stitch by Jessalou, I got this bag either as a gift or as part of a trade with my friend Becca. I don't remember. I've had it for a very long time. I usually use it for spinning because it's a spinning bag. This unsnaps and you can snap it onto your wheel, but I just needed a bag to put this project in because it is kind of not in timeout, but kind of just set aside for right now because I don't need this finished until the end of the month, and that project and another project have a deadline. So I started this project on the 1st because I was going on a field trip and I needed field trip knitting. And I knit a really big chunk of this. I'll put in a picture of how much I knit on the field trip. And then this has been my work knitting. So this is, you guessed it, another unicorn sock. And this one, right after I finished the cuff, I went ahead. Ooh, I did 2 different cuffs on here. Whatever. 2 different styles of cuffs. It's fine. They're both cute. They are both the same number of rounds, but 1x1 twisted rib is tighter than 2x2 rib. So this one looks shorter. I will just make sure to block this sock before I send it. I think they're the same number of rounds. Pretty sure. Doesn't matter. It's fine. So yes, you can see that this is the halfway point for this sock. And then I will just continue to knit this tube while I'm at work. I don't need these socks before Christmas. I would like them finished by the end of the month, but that will be super easy. Do I have the second cuff? I don't remember. I think I may have the second cuff already finished. No, I don't have the second cuff already finished. I don't know if I have it cast on. I definitely have the other set of ears finished. I did not make the second horn. Man, I don't remember if I cast on that second cuff. But it's not finished because the ears are sitting on a double pointed needle right now. Anyway, I'm going to mark this really quick. I currently have all of my stitch markers on this project bag on a ring that I got from Jenna of 716 Knit. This is how she sells some of her stitch markers on these rings, and I love them. It's my favorite way to have stitch markers hanging out, traveling around. They're super simple to grab. It keeps them all organized in one place. They're really easy to see. So we'll just mark that halfway point so I know where it is, so that I don't accidentally knit way too much, because I knit on this at school, so I knit on it rolled up like this, so I don't actually know how long this is while I'm at the school working. But now it'll be easy to check when I'm at work. And yeah, that's the progress I've made on that. The yarn that I'm using was a gift from my friend Deb, and it is Sunvalley Fibers, which I've never used their yarn before, mostly because not usually, the first few times I saw them, I only saw MCN in their booth. They may have had non-MCN, but that's what they were kind of known for at the first several ZKs. and I just didn't see any non-MCN. So I looked in their booth, but I didn't look around their booth because I am allergic to cashmere, and I can work with it. Like, I can touch it with my hands, and it takes probably 20-30 minutes before my hands start really getting itchy to the point where I can't work with it. But if it touches anywhere else, my skin turns red and it gets really itchy. It's pretty awful. So I didn't go in their booth. I didn't check it out. But Deb sent this to me, and this is 80/20 merino nylon, and it's fingering weight. It's beautiful, and the color is fairy tale. So I just think it's perfect for a pair of unicorn socks. Let me stuff the tag back in there so it doesn't get lost. And I will continue to work away on this sock at work. I don't actually carry it in a project bag at work, but I grabbed it so I could show it to you, and then I wanted it in a project bag while I have it in my house. I don't have a project bag at work because I have an apron, and so the project just goes in one of my apron pockets. Having a bag just makes it really cumbersome. Next up, not in a bag, I have just barely started. I had a one-on-one crochet class this week, and when I'm teaching crochet, I like to be working on a crochet project. And I had started this project a while ago. This is it's going to be a Santa ornament. I have wanted to make this project for a while, so I started it several months ago when I was working on the shawl cowl that I designed. What is that? Chaotic Neutral. I used some cattails yarn in the brown Aja colorway, and I crocheted the head and the hands. So my plan is to make a Santa using the Rocco the Raccoon by Lydia Tresselt as my base. I'm going to use all of the shapes in that pattern, the body shaping and everything. I'm just going to change the colors to turn it into a little Santa or an elf or something. I haven't quite decided if I'm going to make it look like super Santa-y with a belt and stuff, or if I'm just going to kind of make it look festive like an elf. I haven't done a pointed Santa hat for it, so I don't know if that will determine what I want it to be. I could always just put like a little jaunty pom-pom on the back. I don't like pom-poms for me, but I think they're really cute and could be really cute for this ornament. So I made the hands and the head a while ago, and I started on the hood. So this yarn is Peyton's Lace Sequins. I don't know the colorway. This hasn't had a ball band in forever. I've had this yarn, oh man, since shortly after I started knitting. Not shortly, since like a year after I started knitting. My sister bought me, she's the best. Even before we started going to the fancy yarn shop where she buys me lots of yarn so that she can bribe me to make things for her. Next work in progress is this sock. There you go. You can see. So this is Twisted Flower by Cookie A. Absolutely beautiful. Love this pattern. Think it's totally gorgeous. Can I finish this pair of socks by the 15th? That is my goal, so that I can put it in the Falling Leaves knit along, sock knit along that Denise of the Earth Tones Girl podcast is hosting. I am a round or two shy of the first repeat. There are 2 repeats on the leg. So this is the second sock, and it is to the heel. My goal is to get this sock to the heel today. I've knit more than half of the first repeat this morning. So it's probable that I could get there if I work diligently. I will be making a change to this. So as you can see, this is totally gorgeous, highly textured. And the brilliant thing is that I have the pattern memorized. So it is a more than 30 round repeat. I have it memorized. Awesome. So I don't have to reference the pattern, which is great. I will not be doing the heel to pattern because the heel is, let's see if I can find that spot where you can see this really well. Okay, so the heel is this part of the pattern, this part right here, not the cuff. Let's see, find where it kind of looks like leaves or petals. That is on the heel. And as you can see, I have the heel, or I'm to the heel. And my intent yesterday was to just do the heel on the first sock. And then I would do the second sock leg, do the second heel, and then work them 2 at a time down the foot because there's a foot chart, whatever. That's just how I'm planning on working them. I tried doing the heel, and it's as you can kind of see maybe, it's a lace. There's a little bit of lace. There's some decreasing. There's some stuff going on the heel. I could not manage to do the return row because there's stuff going on. It's a lace on both sides sort of thing. I couldn't do the return row. There's twisted stitches on both sides. I'm a little disappointed in myself for not being able to figure it out, but I tried 3 times yesterday to do the heel and I couldn't do it. So I want these done by the 15th. That's only 6 days. I'm just going to do a regular heel flap and I will be fine with that. It will be beautiful. It will be great. It is good enough. The intended recipient will not know that I didn't do the fancy heel in the pattern. So it will be fine. And this is, oh, it's so pretty. It's a little bit dark because my light went away. Oh, that is, let's see if I can find the light. I'm trying to find the light. That's worse. I don't know. I'm not finding the light. So I'll put in a picture of this. But the yarn is Manos del Uraguay in the Oxblood colorway. I know this could be the Manos del Uraguay episode. That just happens to be what I buy the most at my local yarn shop. So can I get this finished in the next week? That is the goal. That is what I'm going to try very, very hard to do. And this project is hanging out in my Sewn by Lindsay bag that, oh my gosh, I want to say Lisa got this for us for a ZK gift, but what if I'm wrong? One of my friends got this for all of us. I'm almost positive it was Lisa. If it wasn't Lisa, if it was one of you other guys, please forgive me. It was a really long time ago. Sometimes I forget who gives me things, but I'm pretty sure it was Lisa. Anyway, it's a Sewn by Lindsay bag. It has this little window where you can put your project information in. I go through projects so quickly, especially sock projects, that I never actually put something in here. But I ordered business cards because my one-on-one classes have been picking up and people have been asking for my information. So I ordered business cards and I think I'm going to, first of all, it'll be a great business card holder. But second of all, there's change in here right now. I need to clean out my project bags because I've just been throwing random things in them. Maybe I'll do that after I finish recording this. Maybe I'll stick them in here and I'll stick the front one says, if found, please call blah, 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 the name on the back or whatever. But yeah, that's my Sewn by Lindsay bag. And I use this bag all the time. It's the perfect sock project size. I have my keys on a carabiner, so I can clip my keys to this and then clip this to my belt loop when I'm walking around at events or at, this is what I carried at the field trip. This is what I had the unicorn sock in. It's just the perfect size for that sort of thing. In my beautiful sister bag that you can tie it closed, these were tied. I just untied them. So let me show you. Ties like that so it can't go anywhere. Also theoretically a good walking around bag. I haven't actually used it for that purpose. Usually what I do is I take this and flip it so that my basket is open. Beautiful sister is spelled with a Y. What am I can't, so out of practice. Okay, so beautiful, beautiful sister. Try to remember to link them. In this project bag, oh yes, here is, this is the Ziprelaxagon socks. One of the women at my local yarn shop, there's a shop hop happening this weekend, and I don't think I'm going because I was supposed to go with my sister, but she has not yet contacted me today to go. I was there for a demonstration at my local yarn shop the past couple days, and what I was demonstrating is the Ziprelaxagon by Kirstin Hall. So I have just the first round of the first tier, they're called in the pattern, of hexagons around, and I have another one started. And here are the ears for the unicorn sock. They're hanging out in here in this cute little needle cozy that a viewer of the podcast sent me a while ago. So yeah, I have these Ziprelaxagon socks. They're on my list of things to finish this year, not this year, this month, so that I don't have Ziprelaxagon socks sitting around like my sisters were forever. These are super fast. I did this tier over a couple hours, which isn't that long. It probably takes me, while I'm distracted, a half hour to do each hexagon. It's probably more like 15-20 minutes if I just sit down and actually focus. So the yarn that I'm using is Manos del Uraguay in the Cincuenta colorway, which is which means 50, the number 50. So these probably won't get a lot of love in the next week, but I did work on them. They are started. They're a thing that I'm theoretically working on. And here I have the first. I made just one motif so that I could show that to people at the demonstrations. So that is going to be set aside now. And I have one more. And I have a spinning project on my Turkish spindle. I forgot how much I love spinning on this spindle. Probably because I was working on Carnival Bears on it. And I was working on that forever. So this fiber is from Deviant Fibers. And they have a little Deviant sheep. I don't know if they are still doing fiber. I don't know. I've had this fiber for a while in my stash. I got it at a festival in Kentucky or Ohio. I don't know how many years ago. Didn't write it down. But this colorway is called Our Endless Numbered Days. The fiber is 60% superwash merino, 30% bamboo, 10% nylon. My intent is to spin this into fingering weight yarn to make a pair of hand spun socks for myself. It is, okay, set that down. Let me pull this out. It is beautiful, beautiful blues and greens. It drafts like a dream. This is such a beautiful spinning project. I'm in love with it. Ideally, I would like this spin finished by the end of the month. Am I going to kick my butt if it's not? No, because it's already a third of the way through the month and I have spun that much. It's fine. It's fine. I don't need to spin fast. I don't need to. Just because I have in the past doesn't obligate me to do it now. And I just love it so much. It's so much joy in this bag. Every time I spin on it, I'm like, oh, I love this. But I only like to spin for a little while because then my shoulder starts to be like, what are you doing? Maybe not this. I think if I was doing more spinning and walking, it wouldn't bother me as much. But I've been doing more spinning and sitting. Last up is what I am currently reading. I don't remember what I was reading last time. I know that I didn't finish a lot. I finished 2 books since the last time I saw you. So whichever 2 books I was reading last time I talked to you that I don't have here, I finished those. And then, let's see, what did I start first? So first, I started, or maybe it wasn't the last time I saw you in a podcast. It was since I finished vlogging for October. So I started reading Hygge, A Celebration of Simple Pleasures Living the Danish Way by Charlotte Abrahams. I may have read this book before. Back when I worked at the dog daycare, I read a couple books about Hygge, so I may have read this one. I don't remember this book in particular because it's got fuzzy trees and I feel like I would remember having read that. But I also got this book about Hygge from the library, and this looks familiar. So I may have read this one already. But it was so long ago that I'm planning on reading both. This is Nonfiction November, so I'm planning on reading nonfiction books, which is why I started this one. And I am, can you see my bookmark? No, you can't because of the stamping. Okay, so I am this far into the book. I like to use magnetic bookmarks in my books so that things don't fall out when my children touch my books and move them. My daughter is super good about losing paper bookmarks out of books. So yes, I really feel like I read this back when it had the new sticker on the spine, but I don't actually remember reading it. And as I'm reading it, I'm not like, I've already read this. So I'm enjoying that. This is not nonfiction, but I started reading it. So this is, I have this binder clip on here because I have a lap desk, and I was actually reading this book in a different edition in Vlogtober, but it's a mass market paperback. I cannot set it open to read. I have a lap desk that I can prop books on. Can't do it with mass market paperbacks though. So I have a different paperback that I got from the library so I could read this book. Whatever. I know. I'm so extra sometimes. But I'm reading this book as a buddy read with a pen pal of mine because she mentioned, mostly what this particular pen pal and I talk about is reading. She's also a school teacher, so we talk about a little bit about school and stuff and our kids, but mostly it's about reading. And she mentioned that she was reading The Once and Future King. And I have had a copy of The Once and Future King for several years now. I'm not sure where I got it, probably a used book sale, but I'm not positive. It's definitely not a new book. I haven't had it, I've had it since, well, I had it when we lived in Kentucky. I don't remember which place we lived at that I got it, but I know that I had it when I had my own craft room. And I'm probably going to have to pause this and get some more tea shortly, or I'm just going to continue sounding hoarse. That's what I get for talking for forever. So I've had that book for forever. It's been on my to-read list. I've wanted to read it, but I haven't. And she mentioned that she had started reading it and she was struggling to read it. It was enjoyable, but it's not really her type of book. And I was like, I have that book. It's on my to-read list. Let's buddy read it. Let's set a goal of reading 70 pages a week. So that is my plan. I have not read my 70 pages this week. I've not read any pages this week, but usually on Sundays when I'm doing Scrappy Sundays, I set this up on my lap desk and I read. So yes, back to this bulldog clip. That is, it holds my pages open while I'm reading, while it's propped up on my lap desk. So be working away on this 70 pages a week so that we can get through it because we both want to read it. It's just not our style. And then I started, this has a swear word in it, so I'm not going to say it. So if you have small humans who would be offended, have them look away for a moment. But I started reading this. It's nonfiction for Nonfiction November. It's been on my want to read list for a while. I only read it one day and I did not put a bookmark in. I didn't get very far in it. I think I was working on, I started reading this when my kids were doing their reading. We do 40 minutes of reading a night. And I started reading that, but I think that I was writing something down for part of the reading time, so I didn't read for the full 40 minutes, so I didn't get very far. But that's what I will be reading next after I finish Huga, or I'm also reading Mixed Signals by Alyssa Cowl. I've had this book out from the library for a really long time, and it is coming up on the due date without renewals. So my library, you can check things out for 3 weeks and you get 5 renewals. And if nobody has it on hold, they just automatically renew it. I've gone through all 5 renewals and this is due back in a week or two. I started reading it 2 days ago. I'm halfway through. I read, I think 100, let's see, where am I? Yeah, so about 150 pages the first night that I picked it up, and then last night I only read about 18 pages. Really, really enjoying it. I will likely finish it this weekend because it's due back. And yeah, that's it's not nonfiction, but I do need to return it, and I want to finish it before I return it. And then next up, I have this book I'll be reading. It's nonfiction. It has to do with the LGBT community. I don't actually remember what it's about, but it's another memoir thing, I'm pretty sure. And I have had this out long enough for it to have gone all the way through all of its renewals. So that will be up next. And then I have these nonfiction books to read. This will be up after that. It's a gardening book that I've had out for several months now, and I'm sure it's coming up to the end of its renewals too, because I checked it out when I checked out all of those books on gardening. I don't remember when that was. So yeah, then I'll be reading these. It'll be good. Okay, so that is everything that I have for this week. I know it's been really, really long. If you have made it this far, thank you so much. Like, subscribe, comment, tell me what you worked on. Tell me how many times you had to pause and get something to drink. How many different sittings you had to sit through for this. Because I'm sure it's super, super long. I have had to get up and get more to drink and stuff a couple times. So thank you if you made it this far. I super, super appreciate all of you so, so much. I hope you had an awesome October, and I hope you are planning on finishing or frogging things in November, December. Make sure to put those things in the chat/finished objects thread. Get those ornaments made, get them sent out to your partners. I'm so excited. You guys are awesome. We're all awesome though, right? Yes. Yes, we are. Okay. I plan to be here next week. I super plan. So barring something very bizarre happening or me just not being able to people, because that is also legitimate. It's totally fine to take weeks off when I can't people. I think that's why it took me so long to record a November episode, because I had been posting every day. It was just a lot on my introvert self. Pretty sure that's why that happened, but I intend to be back within a week. So see you next week. Bye.